guys, it's Ricky, and I wanted to talk about a small little story time thingy. It's not a very long interaction. As you can see in the title, yeah, I did meet Khaya Mthethwa. Now, this happened early this year around the Easter period. What was it, March or April? I can't remember exactly. Around that period. And we did have to do something in the Limpopo area. And so we were having issues with our travel, and so, or how we were gonna move there, because there was a lot of us that was going. I think out of the family was like 15 people or something like that. And so we had to kind of like, it was not even 50, yeah, around almost 15. And so already there had been almost like 2 cars that were already going, and there were still other people. There was still about 6 other people that needed to go as well. And so that's when we thought, you know what, we'll probably need to rent out a car, or to hire a car rental. Now, this is not a sponsored episode or anything, but we did end up using Avis. Their rental thingy was a lot more easier, more affordable. So like I said, this is not a sponsored episode, but we did end up using their rental system because it was much easier to get their thingy. I think also their offices that I knew of directly, which I could say like I can go here and we'll thingy, was the one at the airport. And so this is where this interaction happened. Now, y'all know I've made a couple of episodes talking about Khaya and some of the things that he believes and stuff like that, and we differ in that area and stuff like that. But I wanted to come here and speak particularly about laborers in the vineyard of the Lord. And so on this particular episode, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about having people work in the vineyard of the Lord. It's not that I want to regulate what people do their ministry at. I can't tell a musician how to do his ministry. I hope when he encounters the gospel, he will seek from the Lord how to do his ministry. That is what I list hope. Now, that's the subject of this video, and I think this interaction kind of showcases that as a whole. It was a pretty awesome interaction, I can say, from the get-go. And let's get into that. It's the Reality Show, daily Christian commentary videos. If it's your first time over here, to be sure, check out some other videos that are down in the pinned comments, and I'm going to check you out over there. Now, the thing that also reminded me of this interaction was also that I saw a video of Khaya preaching very recently. I think it was maybe 2 days back or something like that. And so that him preaching, when I saw him preaching, it reminded me of this interaction. I was like, hey, remember when I met Khaya at the airport? I thought it was quite an interesting one. And also, I did see something in their church that was also very commendable. In their church, they have a lady that interprets for deaf people. You can see her right behind. She's interpreting for an audience right in front of her right there. So that's pretty commendable, because not all churches do have that. And I think y'all should have it in your social medias and stuff like that, so that people will know that when they come to your church branches, they will be able to be interpreted for them. Sign language, that's a very difficult one to actually find, because not many churches do have that. Charlatan churches can have that because they're trying to get everybody into their church. But then other churches mostly don't have that in their thing. So that's kind of like another thing that kind of reminded me of that interaction and thingy. Now, speaking of sign language, I once learned sign language too. I even know. I don't. Okay, let me see if I remember. I think that's Yo, I don't even remember. Which one is A? Is this A? Or is this A? B, C, D, E. Okay, okay. So A is this one. A, B, C, D, E, F. I think is this one. F, like thumb over thumb. I don't remember. F, G. I don't remember G. G, M, O, L, M, N, O, P. I don't remember. And there's another one. Oh, this is J. This is J. This is J. I don't remember. I learned sign language a while back. I think the letters I still remember. And when I used to speak to my friend, I had to kind of spell every word out and stuff. We used to have this friend called David. And the first thing that he did was, I think it was they met with my cousin in school. And so I ended up learning letters first and stuff, and some words, you know. And a lot of my family members actually ended up learning letters spelling. So we would spell. Unfortunately, it would take forever, but hey, we had or something. I don't even know. I wonder where he is now. And so I just remembered because of that, because of seeing that lady. I don't know. Maybe I need to put that as a challenge to remember how to spell. Then maybe when I'm speaking, I'll be able to sign as I'm speaking, and then deaf people also can hear. That should be a good challenge right there. And so I just completely forgot it. I don't know. Do you guys know how to sign the letters? I mean, like, there's examples out there. There's a lot of videos and stuff. So that's the thing that kind of reminded me of it, and I was like, hey, their church is pretty commendable. They have a sign language person there to help people who cannot hear. So as I explained the scenario, we were going somewhere, and in that period of us going to this place, we were out of space for people to be able to go, and so Avis did have a thing. We did talk to other companies and stuff, it was not happening. They were either asking for too much or their rental fee was way higher. Avis one was like 1,000 something, and the 1,000 also included refueling petrol and stuff, and so we ended up getting a bigger refund more because we had filled the tank right before we took the car back. So we rented a car. However, just a little bit of a hint, do make sure that you have a credit card. They don't care that you have money. They need you to have a credit card. So that's another thing. If you remember, if you watched my video on paying off my credit debt, that's one thing that I did learn. They need a credit card. They need a person with a credit card. They need a person who has the amount of thingy, and must have a driver's license, and I think it must be 6 months or a year old. And if you are actually traveling from one of the flights, it also does help for them to transition and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, you can go check them out. I do highly recommend thingy. It did end up being extremely more cost friendly as renting, instead of us trying to split into things, because we needed a 7-seater then. So we get there, we get the car rental, and then the pickup time that we had set out come up, and we went, and it was a little bit late. And I think he had just come from departures, from arrivals, and so we passed through the arrivals, and I was with my brother-in-law and my sister, I think. I can't remember exactly who else I was with. Yeah, but I was with the two of them. and stuff. And so we're coming from arrivals, and he came from behind us. I didn't see him until he actually passed right next to me, and he was in an extreme hurry because I guess the car that was picking him up had just pulled up, and so he comes flying right past us, and so I called him, like, "Hey, Khaya, what's up, man?" I'm like, "Hey, man, what's good?" And he, "Hey, man, what's up? You good? Oh, what's up? Awesome stuff." But he did show that he was actually in a hurry, so I was not trying to delay him or anything like that. And also because, me being Ricky, I was there busy grilling the man then. All right. But I don't think he actually recognized me. It was just, it was like, "Hey, man, how are you? You good? Oh, awesome stuff." So, but then something came up, because remember, it's not like I saw him, so I had time to think about what to say or what. No. He just came right behind, and he did show that he was in a hurry. And so while he was about to leave after greeting, "Hey, man, you good? Awesome." And he turned back, by the way. He was turned back and said, "Hey," he came back, "Hey, you good?" Greeted the people that I was with. And then I asked him a bit of a personal question, because I had seen articles that was where he was talking about trying to get sponsors for his shows. So that question popped up in my head. After he responded, he came back and, "Hey," and he shook my hand, and the other people that I was with, very friendly. And so I asked him, "Hey, man, how far with the sponsor thing? Were you able to get them?" And so it's like, "Yeah, it's hectic getting sponsorships nowadays and stuff like that and what." And I was like, "All right, man, good luck, no probs." All right. And the man them took off. But then, if you do see me, say hi, If I see you, I'm going to say hi. And I said, it's not personal when you see my videos out here. I hope, which is why I wanted to talk specifically about laborers in the vineyard of the Lord. I am not a musician, right? Nor am I a music writer. I had a huge interest in music when I was in high school. I was a dancer and all those kind of things. And so, but my love for music was clearly not as my passion for the gospel. And so that took over once I got born again. I'd never been interested in being a preacher, like completely. But once the gospel took over, I just took over. All these other things just fell behind. And so I am not a musician. But when a musician does his part, I kind of have the question, is this your service to the body? I have that in my mind. When I hear a preacher preach, that's the first thing that comes up also. Is this your service to the body? Is this good food to the body? The Bible says we are ministers to God's body, and it says, "Feed my flock, which he purchased with his own blood." And so that tells you the importance of rightly serving in the body, And so doing a good job at God's service, it's my most passionate thing. I try by all means to make sure that everything that I believe, I take from the scripture straight. Like, so if you've been in the live streams, which we do on Saturdays, 7:00 in the evening, and if you've been in the discipleship class, I always emphasize that if I'm saying this, it comes from this verse. If I say this, it comes from this verse. And so my biblical navigation is literally just out of the Bible, straight. Okay? I don't believe something because someone said it. I don't believe something because someone that I follow said this. I believe what I believe because I have proven it biblically, right? Which is what the Bereans ought to do, or to confirm. That's what the Bible actually teaches. And so that's the same diligence that I expect to see from everybody in the body. If you're doing your service, if you you minister through video work, film, and all this kind of stuff, exception, good and exceptional work, particularly for that field in which you're serving. Good and exceptional work. Well done, thou good and faithful servant. You might have been a good servant, but then faithful, that's consistency. And even Paul, when he speaks about his run in work in ministry, he says, I have run the race, I've kept the faith. And so this is very clear. There is a doctrinal consistency. There is faithfulness to the doctrine, and the Lord will reward him. He then speaks about to his work and all that kind of what. Yes, it's faithfulness to, if you say you're a musician, you're a gospel musician, your songs being faithful to the faith, it's a big deal. It's important, And so sometimes I feel like a lot of people tend to take things from an emotion and not realize when we do these videos when I do these videos that you see on this channel, it comes from that. Are you sure this is exceptional work for your particular place in the ministry? If a preacher is preaching something and it clearly sounds off biblically, right? Should we not question that to say, hey man, are you sure you've read this well? Are you sure you've really dealt with this scripturally? Because you sound like you're approaching it from an emotional place instead of a biblical place. This is a very important part of the conversation. Diligence in our work. Faithfulness to the faith. And by faithfulness to the faith, we mean faithfulness to what the faith teaches from the Bible. Like taking everything that you're saying from the Bible and not just taking it because we mustn't just take it because you said it, right? Can you be diligent in that? If you're doing gospel, you do whatever you're doing for the church, can you make sure that it is exceptional work? It's your best work forward, right? And if you're not well knowledgeable on that particular subject, maybe you want to pause it, right? You want to pause it and think about it properly before you go out and serve half-baked food. Believing something because someone said to believe this just doesn't do it. You study it and then you come up with your particular position. And so my interaction with him, it was very brief, but it was that particular reminder. I'm an approachable guy. The people that I talk about here, it's nothing personal. I'm asking the questions. Are you doing exceptional work, right? Are you doing work that leads towards the master rewarding you and saying, well done, thou good and faithful servant, And so, or you might be in that position where you are even doing the work, but then the rewards of it just don't show or whatnot. And so kind of like the thing that Khaya was struggling with. I think there was articles. I think I once covered that. I once did an episode speaking about that. Why a lot of sponsors just they're not around gospel thingy and all this kind of stuff. And also we do have a very short, we have a very small ring for sponsorships in the ministry work, because they can take a worldly show. You can have booze companies, and all these things. You can have all these sponsors in that thingy for believers' work, even in shops that are Christians. Supporting those ones, they just don't. you know. And so it's quite something to actually find that you to find a sponsor when you do Christian work. Oh, Jesus. I said, I don't even know where are the Christian businessmen. I don't even know. Do we have them? We don't know. You know, because it's like in the marketplace, it's like they isn't there. They are not there. They're there. They'll tell us they're Christian. But hey, they don't you just don't see them. You just don't see them. You just absolutely do not see them. But hey, it was quite an interesting thing in meeting him. It was an interesting interaction and all that kind of stuff. I'm approachable. I just want y'all to know that I'm very passionate about things that I say from a service perspective. When he says laborers are needed for the work of the ministry, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm constantly thinking about. To say, is this service that's serving the body, or are you just saying what sounds safe? You know, are you teaching what everybody's saying, or are you teaching thinking? So when you hear me question doctrine, when you hear me question Christians in the space, in the public space, or in the social media space, that's what I'm asking. Do you think that's good? That's a good representation of a Christian's life, how you are portraying it? And so that's my passion, and that's my question to people. You sure about this work? You know, I'm just a reminder that at the end of the day, we have a place where we are going to answer. And so, pretty awesome stuff. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Shabbat, and I'ma check you out on the later on episode. Y'all have a good one. I still need to practice my sign language though.